Hi everyone, and welcome to Living and Losing with Leah. Today we have my very best friend Nathan.
Hello.
The topic we're going to be discussing today is narcissism and emotional abuse, and it's very relevant to our friendship because we actually met through a narcissist. So this is going back 6 years ago now.
October 2018.
You feel ready to talk about it now?
Yeah.
The camera's there and we're just like
Just stop talking.
I'm laughing, even though this is such a serious topic.
To be fair, I think we do need to have just a bit
We
of
need
humour
to be able to get through it.
the conversation, because if we don't, it's going to be quite a hard thing to talk about.
Yeah, we have to. This is how we cope, guys. We cope with trauma with laughter.
We do.
Dark humour.
It's what we do. It's how we get past it, get through it. So I will not be using the name for personal reasons. You know, I'm talking about this for reasons that will help others, not to let people know that everything does get better.
Yeah.
Eventually. We'll call him Tom.
Tom, okay.
So me and Tom met on Tinder. It was on a Sunday evening and I matched with him. This person had not long broken up with their ex that same day. I didn't know at this point. I hadn't been in a relationship, I think, for 11 months. You know, we just had a good chat, everything was going fine. And then he was like, oh, I'm free tomorrow, do you want to meet up? And I was like, oh my God, okay, a date, let's go. But I brought my best friend with me, Tamika. Love her, she won't mind me naming her. He asked me, do you want me to come with you because it's your first date in a while? I just want to make sure you're safe. And I was like, please do. So she came. Back then, I was very much more into my feminine side. Still trying to get to know myself. I was beardless at the time, makeup, heel boots. I wasn't going drag queen. I was just going like feminine.
Yeah.
So he met us in TK Maxx. I was like, I'm so nervous. Oh my God. And he just came behind, went beer, and I went, oh my God, hello. Gave me a hug and stuff. And I went to Costa. We had a drink. He sat next to me. My friend sat opposite. And we were just talking like about our families, about our friends, showing pictures, showing videos. And it was just going really well. And he decided, because me and my friend were like, we need to get our train back now because we're going to be late home. And he was like, oh, well, I'll drive you home. So then he drove us back. He was like, oh, do you want me to drop your friend off first? I went, yeah, if that's okay. She was texting me while we were in the car and she was like, are you sure you want me to leave you? Will you be okay? And I said, I'll be fine. After that, we were just together by ourselves for a couple of hours. And we stayed up at the stars. It was all cutesy.
Very demure.
Very demure, very mindful. It was very romantic. And I was like, oh, the stars are out. This is beautiful. And I was just like, this is such a nice moment. And then he just goes, would it be bad to say that I love you? And I went, huh? Because I was like, am I hearing that right? I hadn't heard I love you since my first boyfriend back in 2016. I was like, what? And I wasn't sure if it was normal now to say that early.
How long had you been speaking again online? Wasn't it like 2 days?
Less than 24 hours.
Wow. Love bombing.
At this point, I didn't see this as anything bad.
You don't when you're in it.
You're blindsided.
Yeah.
So in the moment, I said, I love you too, because I thought, do you know what? Go for it, whatever.
You were also quite young, wasn't you?
I was 19 at the time.
That's what love bombing. Love bombing, they just paint this picture of everything you want, so you're like, oh my God, yes, this is what I've been looking for.
It is. They paint you this perfect image and they make you believe that everything they're telling you is real, and then it's not. He then basically just went, do you want to be my boyfriend? And I went, what? Yeah. He was like, oh my God, I can't believe it. And I was like, I can't either. I've known you less than 24 hours. What the fuck? That Monday night, he dropped me off at home. The next day, he met my friends. And then the Wednesday, he met the people I was living with. The Thursday, I met his family. And he just took me over to his house and told me, oh, my family are expecting to meet you. And I went, oh, okay. I had my heel boots on, everything. And I was like, hopefully they like me. Like, I don't want them to dislike me because it's not very often you come across a feminine guy. So we just went upstairs. He showed me his room because I'd never been to his house before. And then his mum comes back. We go downstairs. And then I go, hi. And she looks shell-shocked.
Really?
She was like, hello. Nice to meet you.
She wasn't expecting you to come at all.
When he said, this is my boyfriend, her face went more in shock.
Now you know why.
I just want to say, at the time, I did not know.
He'd just got out of a relationship.
I didn't find that out for a long time.
You probably thought because maybe, like you said, you were in your boots and dressed all feminine. That's why she was taken back.
It was an initial thing of me. But she was very nice to me initially. Like, all of his family were lovely, but it was once they kind of realised, oh, this is serious.
I remember when Tom told me that he had a new relationship, I was like, what the fuck? Because I knew he was with someone 2 days ago and he was crying and saying his life was completely over and he didn't want to be here anymore when that person broke up with him.
You okay?
Yeah. I just choked on my own spit. I remember just thinking, what the fuck are you doing? He was at my house when they broke up and I saw the state he got in. His life was over, and then 2 days later he's got a boyfriend. I hope that I didn't come across weird or anything when we first met.
No, you didn't. Did I meet you in that first week?
You possibly did. I think you both come to my house.
He asked you if I can come over.
Yeah.
'Cause he got a new boyfriend and he had you on the speaker in the car.
Yeah.
And you're like, yeah, that's fine. But I think, again, you didn't expect it either.
We clicked straight away, didn't we?
We did. As soon as I came into your room, it was like...
We were like talking about Vampire Diaries, Pretty Little Liars, and then we were making dancing TikToks.
TikTok dances was us just dancing and he was just lay on the bed in the background.
Miserable on his phone.
Didn't like it at all.
No, probably because of how much we got on.
I think the fact that we had more in common than
Yeah.
we did with him. But again, it wasn't even a thing of me trying to take you away from him.
No.
It was more of a thing of we just got on really well and
Yeah.
the chemistry between us just was bouncing.
It was instant, wasn't it?
And we just had a lot in common.
Yeah.
And we just spoke about everything.
So when did you first notice any red flags?
I'll mention this because this is an important part of the story. That on the first day we met, he did say about what I was wearing. He's like, is this all permanent? And I said, it can be. I said, I'm still navigating everything myself. I said, but at the moment, when I'm confident, I will wear stuff like this. But in my day-to-day life, I don't wear it all the time. I wear trainers and stuff. And he's like, oh, okay, that's great. After that first week of meeting everyone, it was like honeymoon phase. Everything was perfect. Everything was great. The people I lived with, he pretty much would be there all the time. When I go to work, he didn't have a job, by the way. So he would either be at his house or he'd be at mine. I didn't like it.
Someone in your space.
Oh my God, he's at my house, in my room, with all my stuff. And I told people at work, and they were like, that's strange. I was like, this is fine. Maybe he's going to be like, oh, got a movie ready or a takeaway or something. But no, it kind of did change very quickly. Like the people I lived with at the time did have a lot to say on my clothes and my makeup, just me as a person in general. He would then chime in. I remember them saying something about my makeup and he went, oh yeah, it looks really cakey, you need to take it off. And it really upset me. So then he took me upstairs to my room. I was like, I'm not taking it off. And he said, just take it off. I said, no. He said, take it off. You need to take it off. You want to go out, take it off. So I took the makeup off because I thought, I want to go out. And as sad as I was, I did it. I just took the makeup off. It all started with just little things like that. It was slow build up. It would be stuff like my clothes, my friends. My best friend, he'd be like, do you really think you can trust her? I'm like, I've known her all my life. Why the hell would I not trust her now? For example, with my clothes, he'd be like, why have you got so much pink stuff? Why have you got so much purple stuff? Why have you got all this colour? Like, you don't need it. And I'm like, because I want to feel comfortable in it. And he was like, yeah, but it doesn't suit you. Slow ways of trying to bring me down.
Yeah, to his level, because he was insecure. Very.
And at this point in my life, I was very confident. I was very naive at the time. From the moment that we met, that Monday in October, I didn't have a day without him. He was with me until we broke up.
Wow.
Work was my only break.
Work is not meant to be a break.
Work was not meant to be a break. Work was meant to be work.
And being away from work is meant to be a break, but yeah.
It's just like, oh my God, can I say? Can you go home? The more confident he got with my family and friends, the more stuff he'd be willing to joke about that I wasn't necessarily comfortable with. If he was doing it in front of the people I live with, he'd be like, can't you take a joke, Nathan? They're just having a joke with you. And I'm like, but I've told you personally that I don't like those jokes.
Yeah.
And you are going a step further with
humiliation.
them. One day, he came and picked me up from work and he was all smiley. And I was like, he's like, oh, like hugs and kisses. And I was like, oh, I said, you okay? And he went, yeah, I'm just happy to see you. I'm glad you finished. And I was like, oh, so that's nice.
Cutesy.
Cutesy, lovely. Go back to the house. And basically, I came in and I was just like, why is everyone looking and laughing? And then I looked at the fridge and my sex toy was stuck on it. When you walk in and you see your sex toy stuck on a fridge and everyone's laughing at you, it's embarrassing.
Yeah.
It's horrible.
Anyone would be embarrassed.
The first thing I wanted to do was cry. It was horrible.
Not everyone even admits that they have sex toys, let alone want the people they live with to see them. People shouldn't be ashamed of them.
No.
It's completely normal.
Considering I was only like 19 years old, still considered young, I'd say. Like, you're still getting to know yourself.
Oh, 100%.
And as an openly gay person, I came out when I was 14 to my best friend. And then college, when I was 16, was when I'd finally become more out there and not ashamed to be like, yeah, I'm gay. But femininity, everything, I started to discover more when I was 18. So when this thing happened, my privacy was taken away from me.
Yeah.
And it really hurt. Like, it felt like I was like shot right in the heart and I was dying inside. For everyone to be laughing at me, it just took me back to when I was bullied in school.
It's like a step back, like you've worked hard to finally accept yourself and start dressing how you wanted to. Your confidence was blooming, and then that just knocked you back.
It really took me by shock. I did not expect it. It was horrible. And I remember just going, what the fuck is so funny about this? This isn't a joke. I'm not laughing, so it's not a joke. So I stormed past them all, went up the stairs and cried because I was very, very hurt by it. And he came up to me and said, you need to go downstairs and apologise to them. And I went, are you being serious right now? And he went, yeah, you need to go and apologise. I said, for what? And he said, because look what you've done, you've upset them.
Look what you've done.
And I said, you have all embarrassed me. And I was crying, saying all this. He went, you seriously need to learn how to take a joke and stop being so dramatic. And he left the room, left me upstairs crying. And I thought, this isn't how a fucking relationship should be.
No.
Why am I crying? Why is he not comforting me? Like, why can't I just have a hug when I need one?
Instead, he's blaming you.
He's
like
blaming
saying
me.
It's your fault. It should be them like coming after you and apologising and grovelling, not the other way around.
That night, he come into my room and given me the silent treatment. Like I'd done something wrong.
So he makes you feel like shit and then proceeds to make you feel even worse and that it was all your fault. That is pure gaslighting, guys. So if it sounds familiar to you, it's gaslighting.
And he was very good at that.
Yeah.
In many, many situations. That was like 1 of 100.
So gaslighting is very much like, well, I acted that way because you did this or because you did that. Like, everything that they're doing is because of you and you're the reason for it and you should be sorry. Like everything is your fault.
They know exactly what they're doing.
Yeah.
After that, it just got worse. When it comes to my clothes, he'd be like, why are you wearing that? Don't wear that. It doesn't suit you. Looks ugly on you. The one day, the people I live with, they went out for the night. I came back from work, went upstairs, and my wardrobe was completely emptied. And I was like, what the hell is going on here? And he went, I'm sorting your clothes out. And I went, why are you sorting my clothes out? They don't need to be sorted out. And he went, because you've got too much colour, Nathan, you need to get rid of it. It's too much. People don't need to be seeing it.
It makes you so angry because you turned up to your date as you. So if that's not his cup of tea, he could have just never saw you again.
Honestly, rather that than what I had to go through. I was wearing a purple top at the time, and he went downstairs with a pair of my boots, and he said, oh, these need to go. And he put them in the bin. I tried to retrieve them out, and then just as I did that, he got scissors, and he just snipped on top of them. He was like, well, they're ruined now, you can't wear them.
What a cunt.
Yeah. And they were only my brown suede, like, Chelsea boots.
It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter if they were £2 shoes from Primark. Yeah. They're yours, and he cut them so that you couldn't wear them again.
And he sorted a big bag of my clothes out. Anything that was remotely colourful was in there. My whole wardrobe, I think, was like black. I'm remembering all these other things now. We're talking about it, but like,
are you okay?
Yeah, I'm fine. Yeah, I had to ask to meet my friends. So I'd be like, oh, I want to go and meet my friends, and he'd be like, why do you want to see them? And I'm like, it's been a while. And he's like, did they ask to meet you? And I said, yeah. And he'd be like, well, can I see the phone then? And you'd want to see the proof on my phone that they text me to ask to see me. And if that proof was not there, he'd be like, what are you trying to get from seeing them? I just wanted to see them.
It's healthy. Like, you should be able to see your friends.
And if he said yes, he had to be there.
Wow.
So I didn't actually get to see any of them by myself. He was always there.
It's almost like he knew what he was doing is wrong, and he knew that if you were alone, they'd probably say something to you.
I couldn't be myself with my friends, because how can I?
Yeah.
I can't talk to them about things that you talk about with your friends because your boyfriend's there.
Had you have been able to see your friends and talk about things, they probably would have been like, Nathan, this isn't right. Like, they would have probably pointed things out to you, but you never got that chance because he was always there.
Yeah. Looking back on it now, it's like, oh my God.
How did I not see this?
Yeah.
But psychological, like, and mental abuse, it's deep rooted, and it takes a lot to get past that. And it took you a long time.
It took a very, very long time. In the moment, you think, I'm going to be fine. Once I get out of this, everything's going to be okay. But no, it's not as simple as it sounds.
And when you're actually in the relationship as well, you do believe that you are the problem when they're saying it's your fault. And they knock you down so small that you do believe the things they're telling you.
The behaviour's just increased. It just got worse. It did lead to physical. I wouldn't say I had it as bad as some things I've heard from other people before.
It's not a competition though.
But that, like, it's not.
it's valid, and from what I know, what he did to you, it's disgusting.
With the physical, it was just more grabbing, holding down, holding the throat, squeezing that. That was more the second time, because I did go back.
Yeah.
So at the time, I was very low in my mental health, and I thought, what could go wrong? What could go wrong?
Also, abusive people, they act like they've changed when you first get back together. It always comes back.
It does. The second time, I'd say he was a lot more strategic. He knew the ways to play it. He knew how to get into my good books, but also still have that narcissistic, toxic side, but it was more hidden.
So, quick side note, guys. So, the first time your relationship ended was just after New Year's, wasn't it?
Yeah, it all started off from that day where he had asked me to marry him. We were going to see my dad, and he was like, oh, before we go to see your dad, I was like, what? Got the ring out, and I went, what are you doing? And he was like, will you marry me? And the first thing I said was, are you really doing this now? And he's like, really? You can't even decide? And he was like, so is it yes or no? In my head, I was thinking, I can't say no because we're about to go into my dad's house.
Yeah.
And
I think
he'll just be like, well, we're not going in then. We'll go. So I thought, I'll just say yes. And then I'll think of a thing to get out of it after.
Yeah.
So I just said yes. And then he said, wear your ring. Wear your ring. And I went, I will wear it on one condition, that you don't go into my house and tell my dad that we're engaged. I said, we are keeping this private until we can kind of figure out what's going on here, what's there to figure out. And I thought, telling my family, literally within 5 minutes of you asking me, he did in fact tell my dad that day, pretty much as soon as he opened the door.
When you asked him not to, yeah.
Opened the door, he went, Nathan, you want to tell your dad something?
Put you on the spot.
And I went, no. And he went, we're engaged. Told my dad. And my dad was like, oh, congratulations.
Yeah.
Like, what? Like, he couldn't believe it himself. And I was like, I'm in as much shock as you are, but I can't tell you. I'd already spoken to my best friend. I was like, I'm not even sure of this. And I've told him this, but he won't listen to me.
Yeah.
That next day, we just sat in bed, talking to each other. And then my friend was texting me. But being on my phone, I felt I was guilty all the time. Like, I could literally be texting someone from work being like, what's the shift pattern? What's going on?
And he'd want to know.
And he'd be wanting to know everything. He had the password to my phone, but I didn't have it to his. Not that I wanted it. I never asked for it.
But it's the point.
He made me believe that if I trusted him, he could have the password to my phone.
But yet he wouldn't give you his.
He wouldn't give me his. I didn't have anything to hide. That day, I was texting my friend. And he was like, who do you keep texting? And I said, Tamika. And he's like, why'd you keep texting her? And I went, because she's my friend. Am I not allowed to text her? And he went, God, Nathan, why'd you have to make it so negative on Christmas? It makes you sit there and just go,
it's normal to message your friends.
On Christmas Day.
Yeah.
Any day of the year, you can message your friends.
Whenever.
But he made everything that I did on my phone feel like I was committing a crime.
Yeah.
That he had to know what was being said, who I was texting, what I was texting about. It was awful. And I remember him, what are you talking about? And I said, it doesn't matter. He took my phone off me, went into my phone, read all the messages, threw my phone on the bed and went, are you fucking serious? What the fuck is wrong with you? I was like in shell shock. And he's like, we just need to break up. But because I was in love with him and so involved, I was like, no. I think part of me was starting to become codependent on him.
Yeah, that's what he's done to you. He's knocked you down and made you dependent on him.
Yeah, it was just horrible. I remember his mum being like, is everything okay? And then he'd go, yeah, everything's fine. And then start screaming at me again. You'd see the change. It was scary.
What, did she like come into the bedroom?
She'd just knock and be like, is everything okay? And he'd be like, yeah, everything's fine.
And then start screaming at you again. And his mum just
ignored it.
Wow.
That wasn't the first. There was many other times. I thought in these situations people are meant to help you, not leave you in the lurch.
Yeah.
Like, this is horrible.
I bet if it was the other way round, she'd be
straight in that room.
Yeah.
What the hell is going on?
Because it's her son.
When he did it at my house, it was more of a quiet whispering in my ear, saying things
to
make me feel uncomfortable, or in my room.
Because he didn't want other people to hear. But he knew we could get away with it with his own mum.
Yeah. But at his house, he was very strategic. He knew exactly what to do to make that situation work for him. It was horrible. I'd be trying to calm him down and say, I'm sorry. And he's like, you're not really sorry, though, are you? And would like make me feel guilty, and it was horrible. There's a lot of arguments where I can't remember exactly how they'd end, but it'd always end up with me saying sorry.
Yeah.
Because I'm the one that felt guilty for something that I
Yeah.
shouldn't have really
Well,
felt sorry for.
narcissists never admit fault. They never take responsibility. And if they do ever apologize, it's again a tactic just to get what they want out of you. Like, it's a last resort to them. They're like, oh, I'm going to have to say sorry now just to get them back where I want them. You know, it's not a real apology because they carry on acting that way. Like,
Yeah.
when you apologize, you actually take responsibility and think, right, I'm going to change my actions. But if a narcissist does ever apologize to you, it's only to get you back where they want you. It's not
Yeah.
real. He always made out that his actions were your fault.
Yeah. It took for my family to tell me that I was in an abusive relationship to realise it, because even though I kind of knew,
You didn't want to admit it.
I didn't want to admit it.
No.
But for my family to tell me was horrible, because the way the situation led to that happening was my sister trying to text me to be like, oh, we've not seen you in a while, can we see you? And he'd be looking over my shoulder at this point, being like, oh, what's your sister saying? And I'm like, she wants to see me. And he went, but why? And I'm like, I don't know why she wants to see me.
But why? She's your sister.
Exactly. Why my sister have to be...
Have a reason.
Mm-hmm. And at this point, I hadn't seen her for a while. So she was like, oh, we want to see you. We've not seen you in a while. And he was like, we're not having that.
We are not having that.
We're not having that. I really wanted to see them. But by saying, I want to see my family, I couldn't say it.
Because you knew he'd get mad at you.
Mm-hmm. My sister ended up getting round it somehow. She was like, I want to see my brother.
What was he replying back to her?
Mm-hmm.
And she could tell?
That he did that a lot with a lot of my friends, but they'd tell. They knew, they could tell.
Yeah.
He'd reply to my dad as me. So we somehow end up getting to the part of being able to go and see my dad. He was like, oh, what am I meant to do then when you go? And I went, I don't know, but they want to see me. They want to have lunch with me.
Could have went and saw his own family.
Exactly. When I got to my dad's house for that lunch, before we went in, he went, do you realise how bored I'm going to be now that I've got to wait around? And I'm like, you don't have to wait around, you can just go home. He's like, what, be by myself? I thought I was going to be at work at 2 anyway. And he went, you're such an inconvenience. I was like, love you, I'll see you later. And he was like, whatever. So then I went into my dad's house, and he was like, are you okay? And I'm like, yeah, I'm okay. And Steph was like, are you sure? And I was like, yeah, I'm fine. Why wouldn't I be? And then they went and sit down. So I went and sat down in the kitchen, and they were like, Nathan, you're being abused. And I went, no, I'm not.
I've literally got goosebumps.
My dad was like, you're being abused. I went, I'm not, I'm fine. And he went, it doesn't take much to realise you're being abused.
Yeah.
You've not spoken to us hardly. Your friends, you're not in contact with them. We've spoken to one of your friends and we know. You're being abused. My sister was crying and my other sister was hugging me, and I was like, oh, I'm fine. And because I kept denying it,
Yeah.
it got to the point where I just broke and I burst. My sister was like, he's texting on your behalf. You are not yourself. You're not positive. You wear black all the time.
They've seen you just slowly.
They've just saw me slowly diminish into something that was so...
far from who you were.
Mm-hmm. I didn't even know how to feel. I was so in that bubble with him that the fact that somebody had acknowledged it, I think part of me was like, oh my God, if I do this, I'm going to have to admit everything that has happened. He's going to look bad. And I was like, I shouldn't even be saying this. Why am I feeling bad for him?
Yeah.
When he'd been doing everything he'd done. And my sister, she was like, I'll drop you off at work. That's what he was waiting around for. And he had my house key. So then he had to then drop it off to me at work. And my sister was like, I'll take it off him. I said to her, please don't tell him you know anything. It will just make it worse. For my family to hear that they can't say anything, just make things worse for me, I felt bad for them.
Yeah.
Like, it was just a constant situation of me feeling bad all the time. To have my family know and know they can't do anything was the worst part. So me and my dad had to have certain keywords and emojis to use as our ways of communicating, so he wouldn't know what I was saying to my own dad.
I didn't even know this either. So you had like safe words.
So if he was there, I wouldn't use emojis. If I was by myself, I would. Also, I'd have to delete conversations. So like the conversation I was having without him there, I'd delete. Me and my dad would then construct a fake conversation that he would then see and know that nothing else was being said.
That's crazy.
And with my friends, their way of getting hold of me was calling me while I was at work, and I'd have to delete my call logs on my phone because he'd check to see if my friends were calling me to find out what was going on.
Oh my God. Did your manager know at the time or any of what was going on? No.
It was the Christmas party. That's where they all kind of realised. We were going to one of the girls' houses for pre-drinks. She was like, where are you? Where are you? And I was like, oh, I'm looking for my ID. I can't find it. really, it was him and me having an argument because he was like, you can't be wearing heel boots tonight, surely. And I was like, I want to. And he went, well, you shouldn't be because you're going to embarrass everyone. His way of making me not wear things was, imagine how everyone else around you feels when you wear that.
Wow.
Imagine how they'll feel when you're wearing stuff like that makes them feel uncomfortable. You've heard those cases where gay couples are out and the other one gets beaten up and the other one's just left defensively, like, you know, having to see it happen. He's like, do you really want me to see that? So you get beaten up because of what you're wearing.
It's not like you were walking around in a thong.
No, I was wearing skinny jeans and heeled boots.
Yeah.
I think I was an hour late to the pre-drinks. And then she was like, oh my God, you're finally here. And I went, yeah, I couldn't find my ID, but we found it now. And then she went, yeah, you're wearing your heel boots. Because I remember her saying to me, like, please wear your heel boots. I want to see you in them.
Everyone in your life that is worth being in your life love you for who you are.
They loved it.
And they love you being your most authentic self, wearing the clothes that you love and for you being confident.
Exactly.
He didn't like that.
There was one point of the night where he's like, oh, we're going to go for a walk. And I had to tell the people I was with, oh, I'm just going to go for a walk. And they were like, why? And I went, just need some fresh air. And they were like, oh, okay. He then basically said, just see what situations you can get yourself in just for wearing stuff like that.
That's like people saying girls that
wear short skirts.
Yeah, are asking for it.
They're not though.
No,
they're not.
You should be able to wear what you want, and it's not your fault if
people cannot control themselves.
That's on them.
I'm sorry, but people doing stuff like that is just, it's disgusting behaviour.
It is. And people like to blame the victim. Again, you shouldn't have wore that dress, it's too short, what do you expect? Like, no. People should be able to wear what they want and not have people yelling or wolf whistling or disrespecting them or touching them. Like, nothing you wear is an invite for that kind of behaviour.
It's not.
It just makes me angry. When they split up the first time, that is actually when our friendship started, like, properly, because this person messaged me, because we weren't speaking at the time, and was like, I need you. Me and Nathan have broken up. I knew what he was like in our friendship. He was like it towards me as a friend, obviously not a partner. So I just instantly knew to go to Nathan. I literally messaged you straight away and I was like, I've just had a message from said person that you split up. Are you okay? Like, if you need to talk, I'm here. And then I think we were on the phone for
3 hours.
Yeah.
I remember it like it was yesterday. I remember it being after we'd split up, but we'd been talking for a week after we broke up anyway. You don't just break up with someone, it ends like that. Sometimes you do keep communication even when you shouldn't.
Yeah.
But like, I was still very much thinking, maybe it's going to happen again.
Yeah.
Because I was very naive.
Maybe he'll change.
Mm-hmm.
Like,
by the end of that week, I remember him saying, do you want a reason to hate me? And I was like, what do you mean? And he then said, can I call you? And I went, okay. So he called me and he was like, hello, Nathan. And it wasn't his voice. I was like, who is that? And he said, well, who do you think it is? I said the name. And he went, yeah, that's right. Said name of this person was his ex. Mm-hmm. Not the one that he'd just broke up with. The one before that he had a bit of an obsession with and would constantly compare me and him to. And he was like, well, you wanted a reason to hate me, didn't you? And I said, no. Why on earth are you calling me right now and telling me this? And he was like, well, I just thought it'd be beneficial for you to know that I've just sucked him off. Yeah. I remember shaking. So I was on the phone going, are you for real? And he went, well, yeah. And the person in that phone call confirmed it. Went, yeah.
Sadistic.
And I went, what the fuck is wrong with you?
If you were both single and he did that, fair enough. But the fact he rang you to let you know.
Fresh week after a breakup.
To tell you, to make you feel like shit.
That, it broke me. Like, it really broke me. And I remember just staying on the phone screaming. And he was like, oh, Nathan, calm down. He was so calm. Why would you tell me that we've just broken up?
Yeah.
You've gone straight back to the ex that you constantly spoke about in our relationship and now you're expecting me to be okay.
It's almost like to say, haha.
It felt like I was a joke to him. I messaged my best friend. She met me, hugged me, hung up the phone on him, and I was on the phone to him for half an hour and he was just laughing at me.
Disgusting.
And so was his ex. And I thought, what the fuck is so funny? I actually don't know why. I just couldn't hang up because I was like, I can't. And I think part of me wanted my best friend to hear it, or I wanted her to be able to go, fucking hell. Even though she knew.
Yeah.
But it was horrible. And all this behaviour was there throughout the whole relationship. The second time was not as bad, I'd say. It just kind of got more worse towards the end.
Yeah.
Again, more emotional and manipulation and narcissism
Yeah.
than the physical. He'd bring up really, really personal stuff to do with like passed away family members with me. He tried to say at one point, because of how sad and down I was, he said, "You've got depression." And I thought, because of you.
Yeah, like literally, like the reason you were sad and down is because he was knocking you there. He was the one putting you down. And then he's trying to blame it on everything but himself.
Yeah. When the relationship first ended, and after that whole situation with him calling me, that was the night that you got in contact with me, so it couldn't come at a better time.
Yeah.
We spoke for 3 hours, ended up keeping in contact again. It was amazing, because I was like, I didn't expect this. Like, this was the last thing I expected.
Yeah.
Because I thought, you know, when
if anything, you probably would have thought that me and him would have been friends again. Luckily, I knew exactly what he was like, because he was like it towards me and our friendship, not to the extent of what he was with you, but I come to you right away because I knew we would have been like it, and I just wanted you to have someone to talk to, and I knew how lovely you were, so I just wanted you to be able to let it all off your chest to someone that knows him and knows what he's like, and the rest is history of our friendship.
Yeah. And even when the second relationship happened, I remember you saying, like, because of me knowing where you lived, you were like, I completely understand that you've gone back, but just please don't share any information about me, don't
or
say
where
where
I
you
live
lived.
or anything.
And I
like
was
that.
like, that's completely understandable. But I remember you saying, I'll be here for you when you need me. If you're going to block me, I completely understand. But it's bad that even though you'd said that, I went back. But again, in the moment, it kind of just... your mind just kind of goes blank. You just kind of go into it. Everything's going to be fine.
Yeah. Then obviously you did block me, but I never ever was mad at you because I knew that was him.
Yeah.
Like, I knew even if it was you that physically pressed the button, I knew he was the one holding the puppet strings. And I knew that you would eventually be strong enough to come to me.
Yeah.
But we also weren't close enough that I could come to your house and be like, you need to get out of this situation.
Yeah.
Like, you had to figure it out on your own. And I was so happy when you got out of that situation. Literally, bestest friend I could have ever asked for. So.
Honestly, since like that ended, I'd still count that time as being friends.
Yeah, I don't count that we ever stopped being friends, because we never once fell out. You just cut contact because of him.
Yeah.
Because he knew that I knew what he was like, because we'd had multiple fallouts.
He knew by me being in contact with you,
that would jeopardise him manipulating you, because I would be like, no, get out. And it wasn't just me that he made you cut out of your life either, was it? It was other friends as well.
Honestly, the second time that the relationship happened, I had two people in my life that left me at that point. But again, I'm not friends with them now. So that situation, I think, you know, we weren't meant to be friends. It was destined that was meant to be.
Yeah, because a real friend wouldn't leave you. When you're in an abusive relationship, you've got to leave when you're ready. And because if you're not mentally ready, you will go back, and you have to be ready. And a real friend will be there for you when you're finished. Even if they can't be there to see it, I think that's fair enough. If they're like, look, if you're going to go back, I can't be around because I can't sit there and watch it happen.
Yeah.
I understand from that perspective. To like not even have your back when you're out of that.
Everyone in my life at that point was so good. Like, I couldn't have asked for anyone better in my life at that time, because everyone was like, we completely know what you're going back into.
Mm-hmm.
We're here. If you need us, you know where we are. So I had everyone that was there the first time, regardless of two people.
They were prepared.
Part of me felt guilty. I had to put everyone back into that situation, but I genuinely did not think it was going to happen again.
They do paint that picture. I've changed since we've been apart. I've worked on myself, and like, you probably think, oh, I regret going back, but at the same time, you needed to, like, obviously to learn and to realise how bad he was, and it has made you into who you are today.
Like, I'm not happy that situation happened.
Yeah.
But to say that situation has made me grow and learn more about people as I'm maturing, really has. I now know more red flags in people.
To look out for.
If I'm talking to anyone, I know what to look out for.
Like, if someone commented on the way you dressed on a first date, you'd be like, absolutely no.
You're
no,
cut
thank
off, blocked, I don't want to talk to you.
And you're yourself now, no matter what. Like, you'll dress how you want to dress, and nobody's taken that away from you.
Exactly. Like, I'm not ashamed anymore. People see my Instagram, my Facebook, everything, and you can just see how I am. I'm confident, outgoing, happy.
Fashionista.
Yeah, I'd like to think so. It takes a while to come out of that situation.
Yeah.
Like, when it ended, it was December 2019. Went into COVID pretty much March 2020. Me and him got talking again.
Yeah.
But that was a very, very brief period. That was
Yeah.
a few weeks, and then
And then you
fizzled out.
realised that there was an incident, which we won't go into,
Mhm.
just because it's not our place to
It was
talk about.
someone
but
else's.
Someone else's place. But that was a wake-up call for you to be like, wait, what am I doing here? Like, why have I gone
Yeah.
back?
And that was it.
Yeah.
And we hadn't spoken since. He has tried to reach out through
A fake account on Grindr, wasn't it?
On Grindr, Snapchat,
Yeah.
Instagram. And I'm like...
He's obsessed.
But I think this is the first year where he hasn't.
That you know of, anyway.
That I know of.
But
like,
what you don't know doesn't harm you.
Exactly, I couldn't care.
If you're watching, you're obsessed with us.
Well, you're so obsessed with
me.
But no, like, that situation has moulded me now.
Yeah.
Into who I am now. As anybody does, you still get a bit emotional. I do think that there are still some things I am working on, but
Yeah.
I think they take a while anyway.
100%.
Mentally, I'm like very strong. I know who I am.
Yeah.
If I get upset about something, I'm not afraid to be
You
like,
found
I'm
yourself.
upset about that. This is who I am. And if
Yeah.
you don't like me, you can fuck off.
Yeah.
If you don't want to be with me, that's okay. I don't care.
Yeah.
Like, I believe
you want
everything.
someone that's going to love you for exactly who you are.
Exactly.
They don't have to have the exact same hobbies as you, but they need to accept your hobbies and your likes and interests. No two people have to like the exact same thing. Like, Dan likes football. I don't. But I respect that he likes football.
Yeah.
And I like making videos and stuff for social media. Dan hates social media. It's healthy to have different hobbies because you shouldn't be with your partner 24/7. You should be able to go off and do something that you like.
You got to have personal space. Relationships work like that.
Yeah. It's healthy to be apart and miss each other as well. You shouldn't be with one another 24/7. You need to be your own person. Obviously, you need some things in common.
Like, you've got to have some mutual interests.
Yeah. Otherwise, it just wouldn't work. You'd be bored after a conversation.
Yeah.
But the point is that there's going to be things that you both don't like, but you need to accept, and that makes a healthy relationship. Take me as I am, or not at all.
Exactly.
You ain't got time for messing around.
Ain't nobody got time for that.
No.
I'm done with that bullshit now. Hence why I've gone through quite a few talking stages and still not met the one. That's because I have boundaries. I do believe that at some point, that person will come.
Yeah.
But I think...
they come when you're least expecting it as well, not when you're looking.
Only recently I've stopped dating apps completely.
One day you might just, drop something and your dream guy might pick it up for you.
Exactly. Like,
they do say it comes when you're not looking.
And I don't know when it's going to happen.
Yeah.
I'm not going to be like, I hope it's soon, because I'm not about that. I'm very much...
focus on your life, have fun.
Yeah.
And when you meet that person, you'll know. When you know, you know.
When you know, you know.
When you know, you know. When
I'm
you
not going to
know,
sing
you
anymore because
know.
if you hear my high-pitched squeals, ain't going to be nice.
Is there anything that we've missed? The important, like, red flags?
I'd probably say, like, if I had to name, like, I don't know, 5. Anyone is trying to change your appearance, the people around you, if they're trying to eliminate anyone around you.
Yeah.
Your environment, so if they're taking up too much personal space. Your hobbies, if they're trying to stop your hobbies or your interests. Last one, if they're affecting your work in any way.
Yeah.
Like, anything to do with any of those topics, like your main life, like the people, anything to do with that, you got to get out of that.
Yeah.
You got to, like, shut that down.
Run for the hills.
Yeah, because you need to put yourself first. And it's very easy to say that now. But, like, when you're in the situation, again, it took me a while to realise.
Like, this is why we wanted to do this podcast as well, because you probably would have benefited from listening to this when you were with him.
I really could.
Like, if you would have listened to something like this, it could have made you realise sooner. And that's all we're trying to do, really, is help people that might not know they're in.
And just make people realise that
it gets better as well.
It does get better. Confidence shines through eventually.
Yeah.
And if you have the right people in your life, you will get through it.
Yeah.
Like, everything will be okay. But at the time, you do think you're going to be alone.
That's what they tell you. Like, they make you think, oh, you'll never have a life without them.
No.
You absolutely will, guys. Like,
you will.
You'll have a better life without them. They just don't. They know that too. They know that your life would be better without them, which is why they're saying it.
They don't want you to be happy.
Yeah.
They want you to think that you're going to be miserable. You're not going to have anyone. But little did you know, all the people that were there for me the first time were still there the second time round.
Yeah.
And I was able to open up and talk
the
about
people
it.
He was like, are you sure you should be friends with these people?
Are still my friends now.
Yeah.
And then I got you out of it, which is even better, because now you're one of my
Thank you.
best friends, and I'd be lost without you.
I know.
So.
That's the only thing we thank him for is our
Yeah.
friendship.
Yeah.
The only good thing that come from him is us.
Yeah.
Like, we're friends for life.
Most
He's
definitely.
my daughter's gunkle now.
Yes.
Gunkle Nathan.
Love her to bits.
So, guys, we've decided we're going to do 2 episodes. So, one on relationships, and then we'll do one in family. So the future one will come out maybe next month. It depends when we next get together and get a chance to talk about it.
But part 2 will be coming.
It will be coming, and I'll be more mentally prepared. So, someone sent in their story of their situation. So, downloaded Tinder 11 years ago, swiped right to my lovely narcissist. Looking back, he was never nice. He would say, "You were just someone to get back in the dating game." Red flag 1. He used to say stuff, but in a joking way. Size 10, he would call me Shamu, in brackets, the whale. Gloria from Madagascar. In time, caused me to be extremely self-conscious, obviously. Coming from an abusive childhood, I had a tick list of must-haves in a date/husband, and he ticked every box. So he didn't drink too much. He had siblings, had a nice family, parents were together, all superficial stuff, and it all ended up biting me in the arse in the end. He definitely groomed me for the years we were together. So many things turned into a lot of little things, which snowballed into a big fucking issue. The first Christmas I spent with his family, they were all very close. They were all so lovely. I think I liked the idea of it because I'm an only child. I don't even remember how it was brought up, but he wanted me to sleep with people for his horrible
What the
for his horrible benefit. He would always tell me how he'd want to sleep with my friends and blah blah blah. Just shit that wasn't appropriate at all, but always in a joking way. We bought a house, did it up, got engaged. Not long after getting engaged, he stayed at a uni mate's house, a female, slept in her bed in his underwear. Nothing happened. I was so annoyed, but the gaslighting happened like it always did. Why would I sleep on the sofa when there was a perfectly good bed next to her? He makes me feel stupid all the time, would even tell me that. We went to Scotland to see a friend. We all got really drunk and I went to bed and he told me he had a little bit of sex with her. I don't know if it's true to this day, and it doesn't even matter anymore. Skipping to our wedding, he controlled the entire thing. The night before, he told me he wanted to sleep with one of the guests. Girl, you shouldn't have married him, but that's the thing when you're
Oh my god.
when you're in love, like.
But the night before.
At the wedding, I know.
There's time and place. There's not.
Well,
not
there's
for this
not.
situation.
No,
there's not time and place.
there's never. At this point, I thought, what the fuck am I doing? I knew I shouldn't marry him. We'd spent a fortune. My family have travelled far, so I'll just go and do it. Wedding day. Why the fuck are you wearing earrings? You know I hate them. Making me feel like shit. Also wasn't ever allowed to wear earrings or any piercings. Life was fine as long as I agreed to whatever he said. The thing is, he wasn't always horrible. Sometimes it was just fine, which I thought meant we were happy. We had our honeymoon a year later and found out I was pregnant on our honeymoon. He always wanted a girl first and a boy second. When we found out our baby was a boy, we drove away from the scan and he said, well, you've ruined it. I had no say in his name. He was born in lockdown. He had furlough but made me go back to work 9 weeks after he was born. In winter, he went back to work. He wouldn't allow the heating on to save money, and our baby's room was 12 degrees. This is like more than narcissism here.
Oh my god.
He wouldn't allow our room to have heating at all, so it was 4 degrees. Then became so controlling, he would take the thermostat into his room for work and carry it in his pocket so I couldn't turn it on. He planned for me to see his family so he could do a long weekend of DIY. On Saturday, he texted me to say, don't be mad, but a friend's coming over. So a girl he told me came, stayed, and he fucked her in our bed. So that's how we got away with dating someone for 6 months before I left. I don't watch football. I don't go to the pub. What's the difference? If you have a problem with it, I just won't tell you where I am. You'll never be able to leave me. You'll be nothing without me. On my birthday, he took me out for dinner and told me he wanted a baby with her. On her birthday, I got mad. He said, what the fucking difference does it make? 2 weeks later, I said, please leave her and let's make this work. He said, no, you knew I was in an established relationship. I'm not leaving her. So I said, fine, I'm leaving you then. And he didn't believe it. That week, his parents come up to try fix it. His mother said, yeah, well, you knew about her. You've had an open relationship the last 10 years.
Well, one-sided.
Yeah. 10 years ago, he made me sleep with guys for his benefit. I was obligated to say yes, as he had already slept with her. I loved his family so much. I'm gutted, but I blocked them all. Caught a few months back about child arrangements, and my solicitor said he's the worst narcissist she's ever come across. He ticks all the boxes and more. So yeah, that's my story. Only 16 years left that I have to deal with him. Hooray. Until her kid's 18. But that is a lot of red flags. And I'd say it's more than just narcissism. Like getting her to sleep with other people and stuff like that. That's sexual abuse as well.
That is.
That is really bad.
That stems deeper than narcissist. Like, it's narcissistic.
He's a narcissist, but
to a T.
Yeah.
But there's so many other factors
into that
come into that. There's sexual abuse. There's psychological abuse.
Yeah.
There's financial
control
abuse.
As well. Yeah, financial abuse.
I think he covers every
literally
bit of the abuse spectrum.
Yeah.
Like, I'm sorry, but no.
I'm really glad she's out of that now. If you're listening to this and this situation sounds like something you're in, run. Like, get the fuck out.
Yeah.
Like, it's hard, but there are people that will help you. So this one was more to tell a story, not for advice. Or should I keep contact with a narcissistic father when cutting contact would be easy? It depends to an extent, because someone can be a narcissist, but you could still have a good relationship with them. There's not much information with this question, so it really depends. If this person brings no good into your life and it's just constant negativity, then yes, I'd say cut them off. The other question I had was, my partner constantly puts me down about my weight. I've lost 5 stone now, and I used to have an eating disorder. But now I'm actually happy in my skin, and my partner just isn't happy. And I just say, chuck him in the bin. Get rid of him.
I'm sorry, but if he can't be there for you when you're getting at your best, then no.
If you're happy the way you are, but your partner isn't, they're not for you. Like, get rid of him.
And the only way is forward.
Yeah.
So if he goes, you're still going to move forward. You're still going to do well.
And you're going to find someone that loves you for you. And someone's going to love you just the way you are. And if you've suffered with an eating disorder in the past and your partner's commenting on what you're eating and how you look, they're just going to bring all that back. And I don't think that's a relationship for you. That's my opinion. Like, I don't know much other than what you've told me about the relationship, but that in itself is enough to make me think, no, you deserve better.
No, you definitely do. Like, you don't need that negativity in your life. And if you're doing well and he's making you feel bad, that's no life for you. You need to get out of that.
Yeah. Like, if you've already worked so hard to recover from an eating disorder, you do not want someone that's going to bring you back into that.
It's a shame, because it's the first person you'd think would be more understanding and be on your side with it all. But to be talking like that to you, no.
Boy, bye. Like, obviously, I don't know if you've got kids, if you're married. I don't know that. But all I know is that you deserve better, and it's going to be hard, but that is not the person for you.
One thing to just keep in mind is just to make sure that you are open about it with your close family and your close friends, because they are the people that you will lean on in those hard times. Because the last thing you should do is keep everything to yourself. Talk about it with people you can trust. Because keeping it all to yourself will just build this negative relationship that you can't talk about things.
You need a safe space. You need family and you need friends. You need someone that you can go to about it. Don't go through this alone. We will be doing a part 2 about my narcissist. So thank you for listening if you got this far.
Thank you.
if you have any more questions or feel braver now that you've listened to this to send in more questions for the next episode, go ahead, send me some messages and we will answer them. Thank you for listening, guys.
Thank you.
And Nathan's going to be a reoccurring guest on my podcast. You'll be happy to know.
I look forward to it, and hopefully on some fun subjects as well.
Yeah, some undiagnosed ADHD and some diagnosed ADHD. We've got it all coming. Bye, guys.
See you.